Hello, dear friends. I'm overwhelmed by today's news because this madness has gone too far. Opinion piece. Tension of war. High alert. Tough times. Escalation in Taiwan. It's hard to be patient. Conjunction in operation. The storm has arrived. Looks like a scary event. Many events are expected. There are several hot spots. It will happen in due time. F-35s are unable to fly. They have faulty Chinese parts. Tension in the Strait of Formosa. Military deployment in Baghdad, Iraq. US kills Al-Qaeda leader in Afghanistan. India moves its army to its border with China. Pakistan army on India's doorstep. China's dragon family split from the Rothschilds. Earth is spinning faster and faster, with day getting shorter. Pentagon sanctions General Flynn over Russia trip. Let's start. I spoke yesterday of a tense astrological conjunction, and today it is unfortunately coming true. This resembles the famous scare event of which so much has been said. There are people who do not wish to calm tempers, but to whip up dogs to fight like fighting cocks. They are not people of peace. Every decent and honest humankind or human being wants a just peace and not war. All I can say is give peace a chance, as Bob Dylan sang. If the world gets through this ordeal without going further, we will have achieved something great. If not, may God take our word for it. Escalation, spiral of violence, or war spiral, is a peculiarity of conflicts that involves a linkage of progressively more violent acts by warring parties, through which a confrontation escalates. Escalation is based on an action-reaction mechanism, but with a progressive increase in intensity. A small threat is met with a slightly greater threat, and so on indefinitely until an extreme confrontation is reached. The action-reaction dynamic leads to the progressive use of force without limits until the imposition of one of the parties, which establishes its dominance over the other. War alert. High alert in Taiwan's coastal regions. Chinese battleships off the coast of Japan and heavy deployment around Taiwan. Japan deploys all Navy ships in line along the coast of China. Despite China's warnings of starting a war, the defiant Pelosi was still scheduled to arrive in Taiwan on the night of Tuesday, 2nd August. Pelosi arrives in Taipei, Taiwan's capital, today, Tuesday night, 2nd August. Taiwanese broadcaster TVBS reports, citing sources. Pelosi may use the excuse of an emergency to land in Taiwan, according to the Global Times. US hopes China will not raise tensions if Pelosi visits Taiwan. China posts propaganda video on WeChat ahead of Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. Beijing will do everything in its power to protect its sovereignty in the event of Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, China's United Nations ambassador says. China vows to, in quotes, bury an invading enemy. To bury any invading enemy, I mean. The US military is moving assets to the coast of Taiwan, including aircraft carriers and multiple tanker aircraft. The military which initially opposed Pelosi's trip, now appears to be creating a buffer zone for her official aircraft in case she decides to visit the island. US Navy ships deployed in the South China Sea. One of the ships, the USS Tripoli, which is now encircling Taiwan, previously conducted the drill. Despite being warned, US fighter jets will escort Nancy Pelosi's plane to Taipei, Taiwan. Nancy held a meeting in Singapore. According to Benjamin Fulford, while the US administration is hinting at a possible visit by Pelosi's delegation to the island of Taiwan, the Chinese military is moving its armored vehicles to Fujian, a region near the Taiwan Strait, to conduct surprise military exercises in the area. In China's Fujian province, adjacent to Taiwan, a Chinese Army HQ-22 Medium-Range Air Defense Systems Division was spotted. Donald Trump says the situation with China and Taiwan could lead to a World War III. Trump says Ukraine should have made a deal with Putin by ceding Crimea. Washington escalates tension over Taiwan to stop China's growth in the world, according to an expert. The US East Coast is full of warships active around the world and in the European Union. In the last 6 months, military operations have tried to find nuclear bombs in sectors of the East Coast. The Air Force is grounding most F-35s due to defective parts made in China. Asia. US kills Al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri in Afghanistan. India moves thousands of tanks to its border with China in the last 3 weeks. White hats destroy a military plane carrying heavy explosives to India to start color revolutions. Pakistan's army is at the gates of India with thousands of forces conducting drills. Russian forces artillery and several nuclear submarines in the Baltic Sea. European Union countries along the Russian border move artillery, tanks and units. Indonesian countries on high alert have been positioning themselves for the past 4 months. Iraq. Political tension in Iraq spills into the streets with fears of violent clashes. Military vehicles deployed in Baghdad in the face of massive protests. Supporters of the Sadrist movement are trying to prevent the formation of government led by another Iranian-backed Shiite alliance. Most senior officials have left Iraq. The head of military intelligence switched to the protester. Earlier today, Saddamist leaders called for a revolution. Russia accuses Ukraine of drone attack on army barracks in Crimea. Western European Union countries along the border with Russia move artillery, tanks and units. Putin reiterates that there can be no winners in a nuclear war. The hypersonic missiles with which Russia will equip its fleet have such a high speed that the enemy's air defense and electronic warfare systems cannot repel their attack under any circumstances, according to Russians. The first grain ship leaves the Ukrainian port of Odessa for Lebanon. Reset news. The clock is ticking. It's about time. The Chinese dragon family split from the Rothschilds. All central banks are now under the control of the white hats. Tough times. Fishing, energy, the economy, everything is shrinking. Can ancient history tell our world what to expect in the future? asks David Dabine. Earth spins faster and faster and breaks record for shortest day on record. On 26 July, our planet spun faster than it has ever spun since records began. Shortage of aircraft parts puts air travel at risk. The Swiss Central Bank reports a loss of more than $100 billion in the first half of the year. Israel's war on cash hardens. As of Monday, it is a criminal offense in Israel to pay more than the equivalent of $1,700 in cash to a company, or $4,360 in cash to an individual. Spain. Economists warn that Spain will enter recession this year. The General Council of Economists has warned that some recession is expected in the fourth quarter of this year and the first quarter of 2023, so they have maintained their forecast. The government approves a new law on official secrets that doesn't please its partners. The Spanish government sets a minimum of 50 years to keep top secrets of state. The government approves urgent measures to extend fire prevention and extinguishing to the whole year. The government limits the thermostat to reduce energy consumption in public places. The West July in a decade deepens the fall in car sales in Spain. The Carboneras earthquake has been felt in more than 30 municipalities in Almeria. The ground shook early Monday morning in much of the province of Almeria, with an earthquake of magnitude 3.4 southwest of the town of Carboneras, magnitude 3.4 at 1:34 a.m. Its epicenter was located in the sea, at a depth of 13 kilometers. An interactive map has been published showing all the ecological or food processing factories that were recently set on fire or destroyed. Two in Spain stand out: the explosion of a biodiesel plant to produce vegetable fuel on 26 May, called Iniciativas Bioenergéticas, and the massive fish kill in southern Spain on 8 June. Americas. López Obrador acknowledges that there were violations, cartage and vote inducement in an internal election of the Morena party. 3 planes and a house are burnt in new arson attacks in Chile. The Chilean economy falls 0.2% in June and marks a 3.7% year-on-year expansion. The corruption trial against Cristina Fernández de Kirchner enters its final stage with harsh accusations from the prosecutor. The Argentine government audits 500 companies that imported at the official dollar value. A tapestry of 200,000 flowers adorns Medellin with a multi-sensory experience. 2 armed attacks in Colombia leave at least 9 dead. 4 Awa Indians murdered in second massacre in one day in Colombia. Colombia's Special Jurisdiction for Peace summons 15 ex-military personnel to testify in a genocide case involving the Patriotic Union Party. Colombia and Bolivia seek to build collectively with social justice. Former Bolivian minister says nationalization will prevent the country's resources from being in foreign hands. New corruption scandal in Peru, in which Pedro Castillo is accused and which involves the state-owned Petroperú. Bruno Pacheco, ex-secretary general of the current Peruvian government, has allegedly declared to the public prosecutor's office that the president received bribes of more than $7,600. Controversy in Guatemala over the arrest of a journalist. The arrest of journalist José Rubén Zamora has had international repercussions. They call for his rights to be respected. USA. The governor of Texas invites the mayors of Washington and New York to the border with Mexico to see the situation. Floods hit Las Vegas. Casinos and streets flooded after the storm. A video of Biden giving 2 speeches on the same day shows him as 2 separate people. Elon Musk's father criticizes him, saying he's not proud of him. Obama sent $1.7 billion in cash to Iran, and no one called for an investigation. Truck explodes near Seattle seaport. Sabotage. A new bill aims to make digital ID ubiquitous in the US. Actress Nichelle Nichols, Star Trek's Lieutenant Uhura, dies. Steve Leonard passed away on Sunday, 31st July. He is credited with creating the quantum financial system and was connected to Building 7 of the World Trade Center. According to the Durham report, Jerome Powell has a net worth of more than $55 million with a $11.6 million investment in BlackRock, which is managing the Fed's bond buying program that keeps interest rates low, boosts inflation and enriches the 1%. This is a major conflict of interest. General Flynn to defend himself against Pentagon sanction of a Russia trip. Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, former military intelligence chief and national security advisor, will file a motion against the sanction imposed on him by the Pentagon for allegedly violating the emoluments clause by giving a paid speech in Russia in 2015. The Defense Department decided to charge Flynn's retirement account for the nearly $4,000 he was paid in cash and in-kind services for attending and giving an on-state interview at a 2015 state-sponsored Russian television anniversary event. Europe. Maximum risk of fires in southern France and Portugal, fueled by another heatwave. Heatwave in the Alps. Climbing Mont Blanc is more dangerous than ever. Rains in Romania cause a bridge to collapse. Kosovo and Serbia reach out to ease tensions. NATO's Kosovo force is ready to intervene if stability in northern Kosovo is endangered. Trump's envoy to Kosovo criticizes the US over the crisis. US Army barracks established in Poland. Ken Follett donates the rights of his book Notre Dame to restore the cathedral. Hungary's Prime Minister says that, in quotes, Brussels is not the boss of us. The European Union is not in Brussels. The European Union is in Vienna, Budapest, and Warsaw, Berlin, and Madrid, said Viktor Orbán. Opinions. Society will improve when it has the answer to wealth and health according to Mess Fair. Either we get our real priorities in order, or we die trying to save what has no real and lasting value, says Poet Dog. I repeat the phrase. Either we get our real priorities in order, or we die trying to save what has no real and lasting value, says Poet Dog. Keep walking through the storm. Your rainbow is waiting on the other side. Stay united and keep the faith strong. It will happen in due time. It is hard to be patient, as we do not know the plan, but good will prevail and freedom is coming, fortunately. I am addicted to those souls who think a little deeper and love a little harder. Conformity is doing what others do, regardless of what is right. Morality is doing what is right, regardless of what others do. Messages. War for the Soul of the World by Ivo de Vega. Right now, there is an undeclared war on the timelines between good and evil, light and dark, and efforts are being made to allow the dark ones to make the mistakes they are destined to make, or to eliminate the possibility of them taking control, always respecting the free will of the people on planet Earth. People need to know. They will not believe it unless they are shown it. Puffness said, "The universe is supporting all of you, and you are all wanting the same things. The goal is for all citizens to prosper. That goal is getting closer and closer, but the machinery of obstruction is still at work, mudding the system and keeping things in shutdown mode. That's not what everyone has been waiting for, but for now the game is a standstill until some additional efforts are made. This has gone on too long. We are all waiting to see all this change, but it is not yet possible. It's not over until the fat lady sings, and she is still rehearsing. Revelation is coming, says Ashtar. For a long time, you have looked for those various things that could happen within your society that would bring about change, or bring about the demonstration of change. On the toppling of those dominoes that you have heard about many times, that will come very soon. Many diverse changes are about to happen to humankind in many different ways and from many different sources. I am talking about the event, yes, but I am talking also about those, what you might call mini events, that are happening beforehand. And one of those is the beginning of the disclosure of our ships. So, in the very near future, weeks, maybe months, you will start to see more and more of our ships, more of what you call great sightings. Many around the planet will see the spectacle or the show that can be shown for them from our craft. Know that all the circumstances that are happening now all over the planet are moving this process forward. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.